Go ahead.
It's your boy Ell Ex. You're now listening to Ain't Nothing Perfect off my new tape 908 on all streaming platforms. Go subscribe to DNC Digital.
At this point, I don't know how anybody else keeping up. Flex the jet on that. Man. 908. Ain't nothing perfect. Hold your head up and keep working, cause it's always gonna be harder when it's worth it. I can't tell you what to think, but just think deeper than the surface. I can't tell you how to live, but love yourself and find your purpose. Lost my nigga in Philly, that shit hit me in my sternum. Cause 2 weeks before I hugged him, that the same nigga that murked him. Gotta watch who you surround yourself around, how I interpret. Don't be out after one, cause 101 them niggas purging. I know that death is certain, so I dream out every version. When my permit drop for certain, you gon' earn it and it's curtains. Be careful how you use your words and don't devote energy to impertinence. On the internet they with it, but it be crickets in person. My shit's so raw, they listen when I speak cause niggas don't talk. Mask on, the boy sick as a cold cough. I pull it in your face when he's 17, but that's old talk. Now I set the bar so high, most of you niggas got a pole for. I'm jumping out the roof truck with that OG rolled up. If we take a oath for something, then that must we owe trust. We gon' keep our head on straight, watch each other and never fold up. And we can stack this bread together till that shit can't fold up. The old truck kicking with that leather like it's gold dust. I ever pull up in a Lou, I'll send her the old bucks. I'm so tough, I could do this shit like twice a day, about every month. Tell yourself that you can conquer all things and never give up. They gon' celebrate the work that you put in, don't give a fuck. Get your money and stay low, but nigga, keep your spirits up. Keep that balance in your life, cause stability is a must. If you love her, treat her right, but don't do her dirty for lust. Fuck a COVID, at 19 I was masked up. And Onyx paying rent if she got her ass up. Checking my class stuff, we playing Notre Dame. Lost to the Irish, that's bad luck. But that's a 4-year reminisce in a Jag truck. We Jersey boys, you can't ride with the stash tuck. Get snatched up. For that cane, niggas able to get their brothers tagged up. Niggas out here chasing a bag, so they get bagged up. Somebody tell me how mothers getting buried after us. Why the cops come after us? Cause I'm black, you mad for what? Run to the Bible cause our black men giving they only sons. This shit is nasty, and a beef for my ideas. If they attack me, they'll scour my lowlights to disattach me. Don't fall for none of their tactics, cause I know that shit be taxing. They divide us like a taxi. You front and back, you lap me. I'm black, you cop, you clap me. We gotta fix it actually. How the fuck Breonna Taylor's killer get to see they family? Huh? Just think about it. Just think about it. Just think about it. Look, they say the grass greener on the opposite side. Nothing but hate, we on the opposite side. Chase that bag until that water around your neck, you get to drown in your pride. All them thoughts of making it rain probably cloud your mind. You gotta get it out the mud in this place we reside. Some niggas ain't even trying to live, they just wanna survive. It's hard to grow into a man when ain't no man for a god. So they get guided by the streets, straight to their demise. This shit is monumental, chasing goals can be consequential. So you gotta keep your movements confidential. Be confident cause everything you need you got within you. They will let you come in until you win and they commend you. I know about what you've been through, but you gotta stay clean. I'm the nigga that I needed back when I was 18. I used to bug out, wouldn't go to class. Fire alarms cause we blowing gas. My shit went over niggas' heads when I showed the pass. I keep a stash to keep my angst low while I'm riding down my Ave. I know when niggas bout, so you better watch your back or that's your ass. I never post locations till I'm gone and that's a fact. Cause if they got you long and latch, you might get wiped off of the map. Think about it. Just think about it. Huh? Ain't nothing perfect. It's always gonna be harder when it's worth it. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy D from DNC Digital, back with another episode of DNC Radio. My guest today is Ell Ex, a.k.a. Leon Johnson. Is a multi-talented man. He is a football player for the Calgary Stampeders, as well as releasing new music that's been coming out recently. He has a new album coming out, so we're going to be talking about that along with his football career. Leon, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
Everything's so good. What's cool is that we're around we're from around the same neighborhood. You're from Plainfield. I was born and raised in Elizabeth, man.
Yeah, about 25 minutes, no traffic, give or take. So right around the corner.
Everything is 20 minutes away when you're in Jersey. Everything is 20 minutes away.
Oh yeah, North Jersey. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what was it like for you growing up in Plainfield?
The normal inner city urban upbringing, whatever that looks like. You know, you don't have everything, but you don't have nothing, right?
Yeah.
You Spanish and black is normally the people that you see on a daily basis. Maybe your teachers are white, or outside all day long, running around, causing trouble. Apartments here, apartments there, high rise here. You know, normal inner city urban life, whatever that is.
So I want to get my facts straight. Were you born in New Brunswick, or did you also spend time in New Brunswick?
So I was born at what was it, St. Mary's Hospital in New Brunswick, but other than that, I've been in Plainfield my whole life.
Oh, okay. So I read that you went to Bound Brook High School, and when you were on the football team over there, you played both sides of the ball. What kind of physical, what kind of physical demand is it when you're playing both sides of the ball? You can't even, rest, or am I looking at it a different way?
High school is a little different. It's a lot easier. Most guys play both sides of the ball in high school. That's just because of numbers. It's not a lot of guys want to play in high school. But in college and in professionally, yeah, it's difficult. You don't do it professionally usually. Those guys get paid to do their jobs. And in college, you get guys sparingly, the high talent guys that go both sides or are athletes in special teams and offense or in defense. But hey, you don't see it professionally. College, you see it here and there.
So, I'm assuming that you were on the line on both sides of the ball. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're on the line, I read this really interesting book called Monster, and it was about the 85 Bears. It was a guy who grew up watching the 85 Bears, and he went back and he interviewed everybody who played on that team or against that team. So one of the linemen explained, like, you're in a car crash every 45 seconds. Yeah. Can you talk about what that was like? Did you develop a sense of normalcy with all that bumping and like hitting other guys and shoulder to shoulder?
Yeah, it's the physicality is part of the game, right? It's the part you don't even really think about. Like, we got the helmet on, the shoulder pads and knee pads and all these pads on because we know we're gonna run into each other. So that's more of a given. Definitely is it takes a toll on you. Your hands, your shoulders, your knees, your head, of course, because we're always colliding. It's physically taxing, but our job is one of the more important jobs on the field, so we do it with pride.
How important is the evolution of the protection of players? Because some parents don't even want their kids playing for high school, and right. There was an article in Sports Illustrated where the retired players, their wives, are the ones who probably have it the most. There have been stories of players driving and just stopping because they're like, honey, I don't know where I'm going. There was one that still haunts me today, is that a retired player's wife had to stop him from brushing his teeth with his razor.
Wow.
Talking as having experience in that world, how important is the protection for players in the future after they're done playing the game?
Well, as a player, from that perspective, we try to do everything we can to take care of our bodies through our diet and through supplements or through rest, however. But we do also understand that concussions is a large part of the game. Anytime you have to put a shell over your head, it's because your heads are bumping into each other, right? So it's hard. There's been a very concerted effort to protect us. But we've seen where that's been negatively impacting the game. Mm-hmm. I personally feel, and this is just my opinion, I think there's only so much you can do to protect players in a sport that's just naturally violent, without taking away from the essence of the game itself. So kudos to all the leagues that have been doing all they can with the different helmet technology and with different rules to protect us. We certainly appreciate it, but football is just a violent sport, man.
I saw that you do a lot of things for the youth. You do a lot of things for the neighborhood and for the community, which is awesome. And we're going to get into that later. A couple of guys from Jersey, sometimes we can get into some trouble, maybe hang around the wrong people, and we make the wrong decisions. What can a game like football do for somebody who may not have it good at home?
Well, for me, what it did was it showed me how my decision making is integral in my future. My habits is integral in where I go tomorrow, right? What I do today is a lot to do what I do tomorrow. What I do this play helps me out for the next play. And what we do this quarter helps us out in the next half. So, I mean, it teaches you accountability. It teaches you discipline, and it teaches you work ethic, because ultimately football, what you put in, you put out. What you put in is what you get out. Excuse me. If you half do it in the weight room, you're going to be half in shape when the season comes, right? If you kill it in the weight room, you're going to be among the elite guys when the season rolls around. So what you give is what you get back. And I think it's just, to quote the late great Brandon Washington, he was our strength coach at Temple. He'd say, football is a microcosm of life. And it is, the accountability necessary to be a good football player, the same accountability necessary to be a good husband and a good father and a good son. So it's a microcosm of life.
I might be mistaken, but I want to say that Vince Lombardi said that I'll take a person and make him a great man before I make him a great player.
That's the philosophy. That's the philosophy. That's what Coach Rule and Coach Collins did with us back at Temple. They made us good people. They made us. You can't go catch a ball the way you can't run the route and catch the ball unless you understand why you're doing and what you're doing. So he gave us the foundation. He taught us, look, this is how you do things, and apply it to whatever you do. That's why, guys who are great at football are great commentators, great real estate agents, great financial advisors. You apply it to life.
There's something that always fascinated me about organized sports, and not even organized sports, just having somebody to be that father figure to you. Whether or not you have a father, you can have a father at home and have coach be a second father. But the thing for me is that you bow down figuratively to these men who are your coach. And a gentleman like yourself, you're well over 6 feet. You're a big guy, and anybody gets in trouble with you at a club, they're done for. But when it comes to this, small man, can you tell me about the psychology, behind a relationship between a player and a coach? Because you're a grown man just like he is, but when he says be quiet, you be quiet. When he keeps you in line, he's a father figure. I'm not sure how to word it, but I'm just fascinated with the relationship between a player and a coach, in the sense that there's so much respect that you'll do anything for that guy.
To be honest, I think a lot those. Largely like other relationships, those relationships, player and coach relationships, sometimes are predicated either off fear or respect. Some players are afraid of their coach. So when he says be quiet, everybody drops what they're doing. And then you got players who respect their coach, understand and can empathize with him. And so we respect them. And when he says be quiet, we understand he's not telling us to be quiet because he just wants us to shut up. It's a reason behind it, So the relationships I've had with my coaches have always been predicated off respect. I respect you as a coach, as a man, as a father, as whatever it is that you do. I trust that you're putting me in the best interest. So what you tell me to do, I'm going to follow. I think that's the better teams. That's how it operates, in my opinion. But there is those relationships where we're afraid of this guy, and when he says get on the line, we just get there, not out of respect, but out of fear.
When it comes to jobs or sports or even parenting, you end up being like your parents or whatever parent figure you had in that world. Right. I turned into my mom. I turned into my grandmother when it comes to, raising my daughter. What did those relationships do for you when it comes to people who you want to inspire, people that you want to motivate to do better in their life?
Most importantly, it made me not I'm not sparing your feelings for the progress that we can make, right? I'm not trying
Fair.
to make you feel good. I'm giving you what's going to help you. And sometimes what's going to help you, and sometimes the most important questions or the more important conversations are hard to have.
Right.
That's the main takeaway. Like, don't listen to how I'm saying it. Listen to what I'm saying. And sometimes that could be that can be a con in relationships as well. You know, some people, you can't be aggressive and they still be receptive. So that's something I've been battling with in my relationships. You know, just not, because like when you learn something in, whether it be football or the military, you apply it to life in a more extreme way than the average person. And so sometimes that can be, you know, that sometimes that can be imposing, you know. So that's things I got to keep in mind.
No, I definitely understand, because without getting into too much detail, I was working for a company, and I was raised by a drill sergeant in that company. Like, he was on my ass. We would be at each other's throats and always arguing, but out of respect, because I had my opinions and he had his. So I was transferred to another location in the same company, and those kids were just babied. Those kids were allowed to do whatever the hell they wanted to do, and the procedures were all wrong, and no manager was correcting them or coaching them. And I walked in there and everybody thought I was an asshole just because I
Right.
am correcting people as I was corrected. And no, I can totally understand what you're saying. Let's talk about Temple University. You're a proud alumni from Temple University. I know you did have a speed bump with an injury. Is that correct?
Yes, I had a couple injuries, but yeah, I had a couple speed bumps.
So when you're in that zone and you're having, you know, a successful career, and an injury comes along, you know, just besides the physical effect that it has on you, what kind of mental impact did it have on you and what you thought your future would hold?
It's that uncertainty, you know, when you get hurt for the first couple times, the doubt. Someone
No,
behind me.
no worries, no worries.
The doubt that kicks in. You're like, well, damn. Well, if this is how I moved before, how am I going to move after? It's the combination of a bunch of things that aren't really real. Which really would help me out in my recovery. I just, you know, what do I have to do? Where should I be today? Where should I be tomorrow? And that's just what I did every day. But throughout that process, it was a grind. It was a grind. I mean, you know, after shoulder surgery, let's say my whole arm and my hand was numb for like a couple hours after surgery. So just something like that. Like, what if my hand just stays numb? You know, I'd be the 1% of people who don't get the feeling back. You know, so that doubt kicks in when you get hurt. That regret kicks in. You wish you moved this way. You wish you did something. It's really no way to. In that moment, it's no way to rectify. There's no way to change it. You know, but.
How do you get rid of that and get back into game mode? Like, I need to get back on the field. I need to, you know, get through this rehab. How do you turn that switch on?
It's the confidence from completing the rehab. It's one of those you don't see it until you see it things. You don't feel it until you do it. So you know, as you progress through your rehab, each step is like, you know, I don't want to say do or die, but it's the leap of faith. You know, are you there yet? Let's test today. You know, and then 6 weeks later, are you there yet? Let's test today. So as you pass these tests, you gain the confidence. You're like, okay, I'm getting stronger. I'm getting better. And, you know, if you have a good physical therapist like I did, Joel Roth, you know, he instills confidence. He's like, this is where you should be. This is where you should be able to do. This is what you should be able to do. You know, it works out.
When you became a senior, I'm reading that on the season opener against Notre Dame, you were one of the captains of the team. So now, having your relationships with your coaches and following orders as you should and completing those orders, how does it feel to stand there and now have all these men looking at you for leadership? And how did you handle that transition?
I wasn't ready for it. Looking back on my senior season, I wasn't ready for a lot of things. There's a lot of situations I was in, and it's good to be able to look back and be honest about that. As a captain, I was proud to be the captain. I felt like, you know, I had worked to become that. But looking back, I just wasn't ready for it. You know, I didn't have the mindset that I should have had going into my senior season. We had just had a coaching transition, and, you know, he was bringing in Coach Collins. He was bringing in his philosophy, you know, and it was a bit different than what we were used to, and for whatever reason, I thought it was my right to go against that, and I caused friction amongst players and coaches that shouldn't have been there, just from thinking I knew it all. So I was proud to be captain. I was proud that the team looked at me as that, but being out 6 years or 4 year, whatever it is, looking back, I wasn't ready for that moment. I didn't maximize being a captain at that moment.
Just to lighten up the mood, I know that there's always a sense of camaraderie, a brotherhood within football teams. Is there any story that sticks out of any like really good prank that you played on each other?
I mean, it's got to be camp, because training camp for us was gruesome. Any year where, let's see, we last day of camp, we go to Six Flags, or, the last practice of camp, coach surprises us with fire trucks and we have a balloon party, a water balloon fight, or, those moments, those moments where, we grind it for a couple of weeks, we grind it for a couple of months, and then, the coaches drop a nice little light move. We go bowling, we go out to dinner with each other, those moments, man, we look at each other in the eyes and we know what we did to what we sacrificed, what we gave to enjoy the moments that we cherish. And that's why they're so important.
Besides football, is there any other sport? Because you bring up bowling, and I like to bowl. So is there any other sport that you might be a threat to other people?
Well, my parents were in a professional bowling league when I was young, so they're pretty good. Basketball, I mean, I used to look at myself as a basketball player. I'm from Jersey. You know how we do it. So basketball has been my first love. Tennis, I'm pretty decent. Boxing.
Tennis?
I try to do it all, man. I try to do everything.
Not bad. So you did have a short-lived career in the NFL, mm-hmm. but you still got there. Like, you still were drafted. I know this sounds like a cliche question that you probably get everywhere, but what did that feel like when the Broncos picked you up?
So I was an undrafted free agent. I didn't want to correct you, but I wanted to be precise. Yeah. I mean, that moment was surreal. I mean, these are teams that I look at. I play in video games before I could really understand how to play the game. Like, these are names that household names. I mean, this is a organization that's been successful, dynasty, and to be mm-hmm. one of the few thousand out of billions of people that want to play football, and to be selected, and to say we trust you with this position, it's humbling, and it's an out of body experience at the same time. I mean, sports and entertainment is so important in America, and we fantasize it and we glorify it, and it just felt it was one of those moments that you don't forget. To get that call, to see an area Definitely. Code that you don't recognize, it's like surreal, man.
I would have not answered thinking it was a bill collector or something. So we're gonna go into your current position now, and then we're gonna get into the music. You play for the Calgary Stampeders. Now I know that the CFL has different rules. I remember reading The Rock's book when he first put it out, and he played for the Stampeders. And I know he was just thrown off because I don't know if it's still like that, but there are only 3 downs in a possession, and there was just a bunch of rules that got him all messed up and kind of put some friction between the players. What was that transition like, having to read a new rule book over a game that you've been playing your whole life?
It was tough because the rules now impact the game, and the game now, the strategy is different. So, with 3 downs, it's not with 4 downs, you got the run. Depending on how it goes, you got the run pass option for 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
CFL first down's usually a run, and then we're gonna throw it. So with the yard off, there's a yard, and so in NFL football, guys are right on the line of scrimmage. There's a yard grace period in the CFL where the defensive line has to be a yard off the line of scrimmage. So the timing changes with pass sets, and angles change. There's an extra guy on the field. The field's bigger. The field's wider. It's 2 50-yard lines. Like, the goal post is in the front of the end zone. Like, everything's, for the most part, a lot of things are different. And it was, I like to learn. I love diving into things I'm not used to. for some reason, and it was exciting to learn a new game because I felt like I knew it. I did know the game. I know football, but this is a new version of football, and it was just exciting to learn. It was frustrating because again, with the pass set and the timing, it's off. I'm throwing my hands a little early, or I'm throwing them a little late, and I'm like, damn. Well, you get into your head at sometimes, but it was. I thought the transition for me was pretty decent. I had a vet and Derek Dennis that was a former Temple alum as well, and he took me under his wing, and things just it was good. It was great transition.
No, I would have been confused as hell. My dumb ass would have just been standing there staring at the field like, man, what the hell is going on? Why is this? Why am I standing over here? What?
There was a moment I was like, are we watching film? And this is the tryouts in Florida, and we're watching film, and I'm like, I'm counting the guys, and I'm like, there's an extra fucking guy, and then I look on offense, there's an extra guy on offense, 12 guys on the field. So, yeah, man.
That's just weird. All right, so I want to get into music because it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. You got some dope stuff coming out, and we're going to talk about the whole album.
Already out.
Everybody's a rapper.
November 3rd it dropped, so it's on all platforms right now.
Dope. It's 908, right?
908, yes.
My favorite area code. So everybody's a rapper. Everybody writes. Anybody who says that they don't write is a fucking liar. Like, I write. I rap on the side. I do it as a hobby. And off camera, I'm going to show you what I can do so I can get on one of your songs. But so where did that turn from the hobby, just rapping with your boys, to a career that you actually took serious? Because a lot of times, you were already lucky enough to complete one dream. Now, it's hard for people just to get up to complete the first one. Like, oh, I'm comfortable with this job. I'm comfortable with my 9 to 5. Yeah. You got to the CFL, and you already have a great job doing your dream of playing football. Talk about the decision to take music seriously and invest in that also.
It was COVID, man. It was, I had mixtapes out when I was 15, 16. I had videos out when I was 15, 16. I was doing music when I was in college. With everything going on, with the social tensions being where they are, I looked at life different. I understood what it meant to be alive a little different. And I feel like the worst waste is talent, and I feel like I'm a fairly articulate person. I got a good feel on music. I love music. I grew up with my mom played music from the moment she had me till, music has been a huge part of my life, and just with mental health and certain areas, music is therapeutic for some of us, so music has been a big part of my life. I just took it serious, man, when COVID hit. I was like, our season got canceled. I got a lot to talk about, I got the ability to do it. So, I took it serious now, honestly.
Yeah, this year a lot of people have a lot to talk about, whether you agree with them or not. It's been really divisive, but everybody has a whole soliloquy ready to hash out on Facebook or to your face. How do you turn all of that energy, all of that tension, all this built up stuff that you want to talk about? How do you translate that into art that can help other people rather than a long Facebook rant that people normally do?
Like you said, it's energy, right? So it's going to get expended anyway. So now it's my choice whether or not I want it to be negative or positive. And then whether or not it's negative or positive is reflective of what I'm looking to get out of life. At this point in my life, I want to help any way I can. If it's just holding the door for you, just that extra couple of seconds so you can get out. If it's pushing your cart back, if it's giving you a direction, if it's giving a message on Instagram, that's what my goal is. So instead of going on a rant to maybe make someone feel bad, what type of experience have I been in? What was the results? How can I help someone else with this situation? That's really what my goal is.
Yeah, I definitely admire that. It just seems like to two people, you and I, grown men, we can have different opinions. And I feel like it'll be easy for us to have a normal, regular adult conversation. When it becomes people and just side against side, I just feel like it just becomes so much more ugly. And I agree with that person, so I hate you. the Black community has taken, I don't want to say taken like the most hits this year, because, from my experience growing up in Elizabeth, it wasn't an easy ride for anybody in the Black community. It's just that I just feel like it's been a lot more magnified this year. As a Black man from New Jersey, the urban areas, how do you not hash out after seeing what we all saw this year? Because if I may, I saw everybody doing the marches after George Floyd, excuse me, and I saw to the point where businesses were being destroyed, the glasses were being broken, and you know what, I almost said, you know what, I'd be pissed too, and I'm gonna go fuck shit up. But that's only one man's opinion. How do you knowing you got people that count on you, people that love you, how do you not hash out when you see something so hurtful like this?
Because I understand, most trauma that exists is just repeated trauma, right? The person that's always screaming at someone else, they've been screamed at some point, and they've made the decision to repeat it, whether influenced by people or by environment. I understand. I can't repeat the trauma. I can't go on rants because there's people that need help. I can't be upset because there's someone that needs guidance. So, my purpose. What's my purpose? My purpose is to improve life however I can. Whatever energy I give out has to be positive, has to be helpful energy. So that's why I'm sticking to the grind. The grind is empowering myself, figuring out how life works, and figuring out how to maneuver through life in a way where I keep my happiness without negatively impacting other people.
Who do you credit for that mentality? Who did that for you when you were a kid?
Parents, football, just experience. It's no teacher like life. Seeing, the results of how me being an idiot, what that got me, and what giving full effort and being a good person gets me. And it's like, do you want to stress or do you not? And it's an everyday battle. It's an everyday battle with being the best person you can be, but it's a battle I'm willing to fight.
So can you talk about the response have you gotten from songs that you've touched on those issues?
I mean, the responses have been humbling, man. Because my purpose of creating the music was I want this to impact someone. I want someone to feel this. Take whatever part of it that you can and apply it, but I just want you to feel it. And the responses I've been getting is exactly what my intention was. And that goes back to, seeing how certain habits create certain futures. I put my all in my music. I'm honest. And I talk about things that people, we need as humans. Is important to human life. And, the responses and the outcomes from it is reflective.
I, personally speaking, I grew up in the 90s. So everybody already knows what kind of hip hop I grew up on. Hip hop was my first love. And I understand that music evolves after time, but I'm just not a fan of what most of the music is coming out of hip hop right now. How do you make sure you stand out in an area where it's been like 35 years, almost 40 years of hip hop? How do you conduct yourself to stand out? How do you construct a song and to know that somebody's going to stop and say, no, rewind that one, because that one was dope?
Just being myself. People respect authenticity. I mean, in a world where you're trying to be beautiful, you're trying to be popular, you're trying to be this, you're trying to be that, at the end of the day, the people that we want in our lives respect who you are as a person. And my music is just me. And the people that it's for, the people that my music is intended for, my target audience, those people are going to respect that it's just me. And that's all I can do. I can't please everybody. Some people just want to hear the stuff that's new, and I respect that. I love all types of music. The music I listen to, I mean, I had plenty of people say, how the fuck do you make the music you make and you listen to this? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
I
respect
know that. I know that
all
same deal.
arts because music is just artistic expression, right? So I respect it all, but my music is just me, and you know, if you respect and you know admire who I am as a person, you'll love my music.
For those that do know you, what would be the most surprising song you got on your playlist?
Ah, people that do know, probably something from Mastodon.
Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Come on.
Mastodon, Colony of Birchman, definitely. If I play that song in my car, people are like, why is this on your Apple Music? I'm a huge heavy metal fan. Metal fan.
What kind of is it heavy metal that you probably get influence from? Is there another different type of genre that you know maybe emulate a little bit in your lyrics or your music?
Probably more. Well, I grew up on Anita Baker. I grew up on Luther Vandross. A lot of those the
Nice.
70s, 60s, 80s R&B, pop, funk, James Brown, Michael Jackson, Prince, Keith Sweat, Maxwell. I mean, you name them. I grew up on those, and while they aren't prevalent in my music yet, it will be. I will start to make the transition to kind of bringing out my voice because I'm a pretty talented singer, but rapping was always the thing I wanted to do. I wanted to master that, you know.
You got to get some Frank Sinatra if you're from Jersey, bro. Put some
So
Sinatra in there.
I have a Sinatra reference in some of the upcoming things coming up. So I'm on top of that.
Dope. I'm loving it. Hey, can you talk about, because this is a woman that I admire, a woman that I love that she is there for my daughter to look up to. You talk about the moment that you met Michelle Obama.
Huh. Okay, so I'm at the 2018 college signing day at my alma mater at Temple University. We've got artists from the names of Ciara, Bradley Cooper, athletes, of course, Michelle Obama. So I'm on stage. We're all the celebrities up there. Everyone's there. We're just singing, dancing kind of at the end. Christian Crosby's doing a song up there. And I see her in front of me, and I remember my mom saying, please take a picture with her. And so I just step up to her, like right beside her, and I gingerly, in the most respectful way I can, I tap her. And I said, Miss, my mother said if I don't take a picture with you, I can't come home. So may I take this selfie with you? And she said, of course. And, you know, she hugged me, and, you know, the picture was history. But, you know, that was, I mean, you talk about surreal moments, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all humans, but, you know, I got a great deal of respect for the First Lady, Michelle Obama. Great deal of respect for her.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That was, you know, she's a beautiful woman and she wanted the right things for kids. And the cool thing about it is that so do you. One thing that I would love to do if I ever came into having the resources, I would love to give back to Elizabeth. I would love to, you know, there's a service center. They call it a service center. It used to be called like a food shelter. I used to go there with my mom when things were bad and pick up canned food and day old bread. And, I always make it a point whenever I visit home to go there and just thank them, I remember, if I can tell you a quick story, I went there just to say thank you after like years. And I was like, my mom used to come here to get help. And they're like, oh my God, would you mind waiting and hanging out? Because we're having a celebration for the two women who started this place. And I was like, wow. Bro, this is so poetic. Of course I'm staying. So the woman who I met goes up there. She's like, before we say our prayer, I would like to bring up this young man. And I'm like, oh shit. And nothing was prepared. And she's like, would you mind coming up to say a few words? I'm like, God damn. Okay, fine. So I go up there and I just start crying because, you need to stop and realize that you have accomplished things and you are blessed. You got a blanket and a bed to sleep in. You got a plate of food, and like, no matter how hard it is, it can always be worse. So I was just thinking about how far I've gotten from what I used to be or how it was before. And just the whole place was crying. I remember leaving and the security guard is like, you didn't expect that, did you? I'm like, hell no, man. I came to like, just say thank you. I didn't come to like give a whole speech. But can you talk about how important it is to you to give back to the kids and work with the community?
It's why we're here. In my heart, I feel like that's why we're on Earth, right? there's a balance to nature that says if you perpetuate life, life will keep going, right? You water this the right way, it'll keep going. I feel like, if we can give direction in some of the areas we made mistakes to those younger than us, and we can help them grow just a little bit faster, how much better will the world be when they get our age, right? If we can guide them to not make the mistakes we made, not have to go down these paths and fight and claw back to get back to where you're supposed to be. If we could just help them not make those mistakes, what will our world be? If we can show them how to be confident and have high self-esteem and to be respectful and loving of people that don't look like you, what will our world be? And, I feel like, when you get your elevator up to a certain point, your duty is to send it back down and bring somebody up there with you, or else you just taking up space here. So it's, I feel like my purpose on this planet is to help someone, however it is, whether it be mental health, physical, spiritual, whatever. If I can help life further when I leave it, that's my purpose.
Damn, bro, that's just amazing. That elevator reference was something I've never heard before. I still want to talk about the music. I'm just trying to get over what you just said because that was beautiful. Let's talk about the project 908. You're very honest when it comes to your music. What is, what's one of your more personal tracks that you've ever put out?
All of them is somehow a derivative of my experience or some emotion that I've been through. So I feel like all of them are, somehow some transparency into my life. But maybe Smile. I wrote Smile kind of talking to myself. Sometimes you gotta smile through the pain, smile through the sunshine, smile through the rain. That was just something I would say to someone who was feeling how I was feeling at that moment. You gotta keep going. But you gotta keep going. And that song was personal to me because, I was in a moment and I'm listening to the song by mistake, and it's like I'm talking to myself. I'm listening to my voice say the words that I would say to someone else. So, that one touches me more than the rest. Smile.
Some of my favorite YouTube videos is when, you got Diddy or Timbaland or any other producer, trying to shop his beats for a rapper. And then that one beat comes on. Everybody remembers the one from Fade to Black where, Timbaland accidentally plays a little bit of Dirt Off His Shoulder. And the look on Jay-Z's face still gives me goosebumps. Like I got goosebumps going right now because it just looks like the wheels are turning and magic is about to be created. Can you go back to any moment of that feeling of nirvana when you just heard the perfect beat and you're like, keep it, we're going to lock ourselves in the studio and I'm not leaving till the song is done?
That's my creative process. I don't necessarily, the words that I'm saying, I'm consciously sitting here saying I'm going to write music, but those words aren't my conscious thoughts. I don't know where to call it from. So I can feel a spark in my chest when it's like, I have something to say to this melody I'm listening to. And then it just goes from there. But that's my creative process. Like if I don't, there's some beats that I think, oh, this is tough. But if I don't get that jump to want to write something or to some idea, then, that's my creative process, that feeling there. A lot of people will say the same. A lot of people say the same. Even with individual lines, like certain lines that I feel like, damn, like I feel are witty. Like I get it's a kick of adrenaline. It's hard to explain. It's like, I'm sure the same thing, Michelangelo felt when he painted whatever he painted, you know what I mean? So it's when we talk about the brain functioning at 13-17% consciously, like that other 70% of your brain, it's intelligence, it's consciousness that we just can't control. And I feel like when you've tapped into your artistic side, that consciousness is more on display.
A lot of people don't know what goes into the construction of a 16 of a verse, or even an 8, before the bridge, that goes into the hook. One of my favorite documentaries is called The Art of Rap, when Ice-T just goes around. It wasn't even about the songs. It wasn't about like the cultural impact. It was just about writing a verse. He went up to Eminem. He went up to Redman, Tretch, Immortal Technique. It was just so many rappers, and they would just rock him too. And it was just talking about how I made a verse. So when it comes to, I understand that the song is a story, a verse is more like a chapter. How do you get that entire story within that verse and say what you need to say?
So what I do, and it might be a little bit unorthodox, I listen to the beat and I get the tempo in my head, like the clicks.
Mm.
And I memorize that, and I turn the beat off, and then I write. And then I turn the beat on, see how it sounds. How does it fit? Turn it off again, and still got the tempo in my head, and then I write again. And it's more of a, what are the words that are going to show up? What emotion did I feel from the music that I'm hearing? And then the words that just show up on their own. But in the construction of the 16, I turn the beat off. I have the tempo in my head. I have the no real concept. It's just the words tell the concept afterwards. Yeah, I turn the beat off, man. It's weird. I turn it off.
It sounds like you hear the beat first, and then you construct your verses to go with that beat. Are there?
Yes.
There are a lot of rappers that they hear a beat, they're like, "Oh, I got a verse for that." Do you ever take that method also?
Yes. So if I just want to get some ideas, because that's actually how I wrote Culture. I wrote a couple lines at the top and a couple lines at the bottom, just from like, I have to write this down because I thought of it randomly. Let me remember this. And then I heard the beat that I put it on, and I was like, all right, well, let's see what we can do. And I wrote everything in between, and I wrote what was at the beginning as a build up to get to the bottom. So that was a little bit different in terms of process for me, but I mean, it's unorthodox, man. It's hard.
No, do you ever wake up yourself from a good night's sleep just because you saw a couple words float in your head and you have to write it down before anything happens?
No. So I try to, like, when I go to the gym, I go to the gym with the mentality to work out. So I get into the zone of, all right, let's see what we can do. Let's make music. And then I go listen to sounds. And then once the sounds come, then here comes the idea. So it's a little bit of it's a different process. I mean, a lot of people tell me, yo, they're like trying to write a music song for this, and then they go try to find the beat for it. It's like more orchestrated. Mine is more like, free.
Safe to say, maybe you have the CFL version of writing a hip hop song.
It's possible. It's possible.
Who do you think is the best kept secret right now in hip hop?
Non-mainstream?
Yeah, non-mainstream. The one that you got to hear this guy. Nobody's really,
I'm gonna be honest with you, Troy Rain. He grew up right around me. We best friends. We in the sandbox, as some say.
Yeah.
Dude's just, he's lyrical. His story. I remember exactly where I was going to.
All right, so who do you think is the best kept secret in hip hop right now?
I think, well, I'm obviously gonna shout out my friends.
Okay.
Trey Hood, 23, Maj, but Troy Rain. I grew up with him, from North Plainfield. Dude's just his lyrical talent is beyond. He's in to me, in the echelon with the Kendricks, the J. Coles, the Joyner Lucas. His storytelling is on another level. His in tuneness with what's going on in the world and how to put that in song form. I mean, I admire him. He's hip hop's best kept. When the masses hear his music and listen to the things he's made 2-3 years ago, they're gonna wonder where the hell they were at the whole time. That guy, Troy Rain, he's next up, man. He's next up. I play football. I'm an athlete, and I'm talented enough to be able to make music, right? But he wants to make a career out of music, and I think he's more than talented, more than capable enough to do it.
Got to get that guy on the show. So one thing that I've always felt, in my opinion, when it comes to taste, like I'm not the biggest fan of Drake or Nicki Minaj or a couple other people that I escape my mind right now. But the thing is, my argument with them particularly them two. I'm like, they are great rappers, great rappers. Nicki Minaj on Monster to keep up with Kanye and Jay was insane.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Drake on I'm Going In with Lil Wayne and Jeezy had one of the sickest verses I heard in a long time. But the thing is, I tell them, I'm like, they're great rappers, but they're not showing it right now because they're putting out a different concept of music. And then I got other people telling me, nah, that shit is dope. That shit is dope. Do you feel like there's no such thing as good music because it's just a matter of perspective?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna look at it like that, absolutely. Because one of my favorite movies is Interstellar, right? But in terms of the typical cookie cutter, how do we make a movie popular? Some people will say, damn, that movie was too long. Some people say it wasn't enough action. Some people say it wasn't this. What you get from it is what you get from it. So, it's interesting to ask that. No, I mean, I would have to say no. There's no such thing as good music. There's no such thing as bad music. Like I said, art is expression, and any expression is valid expression if it's coming from a human, right? So,
yeah.
I think there is no bad music. It's what do you want to hear? What do you what's your goals out of what you want to receive? It's what you want to listen to is what you want to listen to. But there is no good music. There is no bad music. There is no, people call it mumble rap, but call it what you want. I think it's good. I think it's good music.
Oh, damn it. This is where we disagree. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I'm not a big fan of. I guess I feel like when it comes to everything, video games, pro wrestling, even the NBA with their new rules and sport and movies and music, there's always going to be that generation right before you that's like, oh, it's not like it was back in the day. And I feel like I'm part of that generation now.
Social media is one of the more telling examples of what you're saying. So everything has been created now. Everything is being tailored now to be more entertaining, more intriguing, more engaging, as opposed to having higher quality, right? So as I say, you can only protect us so much without taking from the game. A lot of the safety is for entertainment. Call it what you want. I mean, we're stepping into creating things to be more convenient and more entertaining. So, things are going to get diluted slightly. Maybe the music gets diluted. Maybe the movies become, it's 1, 2, and 3. Maybe it's too cliche, but that's how entertainment is in America, at least. It's very cookie cutter. It's let's do it by the book so we make sure we make a profit.
A cool fact about you: you were an advertising major, and I'm sure it definitely helped you in getting your music out there, knowing how to market yourself, and knowing the correct way and strategy to get yourself out there. But you were an intern for Comcast Sportsnet. Did that, how important was it to, know how to shake a hand and know how to make relationships to further yourself in your career?
Because it's not football. It's not football talk. It's not those football gestures that are friendly to us that, it's completely separate and corporate. So it gave me a different perspective of professionalism. It gave me a different perspective of work ethic. Work ethic isn't just what you can do physically now. Now it's what you can do, what you put on paper, what you put in the laptop, what you put in the desktop. So it gave me a new respect for a different angle of sports, a different angle of media. We have, as athletes, we have our biased opinions of media, but I had a newfound respect for media. They have a job too, and it was humbling. Like I like to say that a lot of things humble me. I like to do new things. I like to be uncomfortable. I like to be in situations where I have to challenge myself, and that was one of those situations. I just had to challenge myself. I had to adapt to a new environment, but I had the tools to survive and to thrive. So it was a great experience.
Bro, I congratulate you on all your success. This has been such a cool conversation for me. Fellow Jersey boy, you got love and support coming from my side. And I can't wait to the day I visit home and we hook up for a slice of pizza or something.
Absolutely.
And talk about my feature on your next album because I'm about to drop some hot fire.
Let's do it.
Dylan, and Dylan. The album is called 908, all streaming platforms. Ell Ex, a.k.a. Leon Johnson, also a player for the Calgary Stampeders. Let them know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Social media on Instagram, you can find me at ToureyJJR. That's TOUREJJR. On Twitter, you can find me at HTLJ53. Facebook is just my name. That's it.
Awesome. This is D. You can find me at DNC Digital on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, wear your masks, show some love and support to the people around you. They want the same for you guys. Everybody take care of yourselves and have a good day.
Yes.